It's still setting up. Okay, and I think we are live now.
Okay.
So hello, everyone. We are live today from the Center for Elder Law and Justice. I'm Shana DiCamillo. I'm just going to introduce our presenter today. It's Erin Riker. She is our technology-based legal services attorney, and she is going to talk to you all today about two of our legal screening tools that we have. And so I will pass it off to her.
Thanks a lot, Shana. My name is Erin Riker, and as Shana said, I am the technology-based legal services attorney here at CELJ. It's my job to support and manage our brief legal services providers, which we do in the form of these two apps that I'm going to show you about in a little bit. The first is our free financial safety tool. It is designed to help senior citizens who feel that they might be victims of financial exploitation or have been taken advantage of by financial exploiters. This helps them identify if they may have been victims or what they can do to stop themselves from being victimized. And also our legal risk detector, which helps seniors identify any legal issues that they might be facing before those issues get to the point of litigation. Both of these tools can be accessed directly through our website, which is elderjusticeny.org. If you go to our homepage, these buttons are the first things you'll see, so it's very easy to find them. These tools are designed for our partner organizations primarily, or any organization that works with seniors. If you have seniors who are a client base at your bank, if you're a social worker, or if you work for Alzheimer's Association, if you work for a senior center or a community center that deals a lot with seniors, then these tools are for you. If you are a senior or if your family member is a senior and you want to get a better picture of whether they're at risk for legal problems or financial exploitation, these are also for you. Seniors can take these tools on their own to get information about their own financial or legal picture. Friends and family can take these tools for their senior loved one or with their senior loved one. The important thing is these tools are available anywhere there isn't the internet connection. You can do them from your laptop, from your office, from your smartphone or tablet. Anywhere you have the internet, you have the ability to get a free legal checkup or a free financial checkup or both as many times as you want to with our financial safety tool and our risk detector apps. Now I'm going to show you a little bit about how these tools work. We'll start with the financial safety tool. If you hit this button, it will pull up the website where the tool is located. And it just takes a minute. It goes a little bit slowly because it's pulling up the tool and all of its functionality. There we go. The Senior Financial Safety Tool splash screen is the first thing you will see. Find out now and get free help if you're at risk for a financial scam, fraud, or theft. You would hit begin risk assessment. All right, the first thing you're going to see is to let you know what the tool does and does not do. The tool does not provide legal advice and it does not form any attorney-client relationship. All it's doing is giving you a snapshot with no further obligations after that of your financial situation or of the financial situation that the senior you care about might be in. So you understand and accept the terms and continue. Who are you doing this risk assessment for? If you are a senior who wants to know if you're at risk for financial exploitation, you would hit yourself. If you are doing it on behalf of someone else, if you're a friend, a family member, a social worker, a bank employee, you would hit customer. It says customer of our bank. This is because when the tool was first developed, it was designed primarily for use in conjunction with banks. However, we've expanded it so that it can be used by any organization that works with seniors, bank, social worker, or anyone else, or it can be used by friends and family of senior citizens. Let's start with the self-assessment. The questions are going to be exactly the same, except they will be phrased in the form of, if it's a self-assessment, they will be asking you directly to answer the questions. If you were to click customer, it would tell you to ask your customer or ask your client whether any of these things are happening to them. The information collected, however, is exactly the same. Okay. The interview is in 4 parts, and there's a very small set of questions at the beginning just to get some information about the person taking the assessment. What's your age? Any of these age ranges you can click. And what kind of bank account do you have? This is important to get out of the way at the first shot because the type of bank account a person has is one of the prime indicators as to whether or not they're open to being exploited financially. If they have an individual bank account, then theoretically no one else would have access to it. If they have a joint bank account, then someone else may have legal, regular access to it, which could be helpful for the senior, or it could be a way that they might be being exploited. Let's hit joint bank account. It's shared by 2 or more people. Okay, we're still in the interview part 1, and this is going to ask some questions about bank accounts. When was the last time you reviewed the monthly bank statement? It's important to be as honest as possible when answering these questions. I'm going to put have not reviewed it in the past 6 months because, believe it or not, that is very common for people to not review their bank statements. And have you ever seen something on your bank statement that you didn't recognize? Let's hit yes, because then when you answer these questions in a way that indicates there might be exploitation, then different results are going to pop up at the end as far as the information you get to stop the exploitation or to get help to make sure the exploitation doesn't continue. Does someone else review your bank statements for you? Does anyone have access to your money who is not listed on your bank account? Yes, no, or I'm not sure. Okay, part 2 is about a power of attorney. If you're not really sure what a power of attorney is, you can click right here and a little pop-up box comes up. A power of attorney is a written authorization to represent or act on another's behalf in private affairs, businesses, or some other legal matter. The power of attorney is a written document that gives someone else the power to do something that you would normally do for yourself. We ask this question first because if someone does have a power of attorney, additional questions will pop up about who has the power of attorney, how recently it's been changed, whether or not the person for whom the assessment's being done still trusts the person who has their power of attorney, etc. If you don't have a power of attorney, none of those questions apply to you, so you won't even see them. We're going to hit no, but just note that if you were to hit yes, you'd see an additional set of questions pop up about the power of attorney. Okay, part 3 of 4 just functions like a checklist and asks for some indicators that financial exploitation may be occurring. Now, it's important to note that just because you check yes to some of these statements does not necessarily mean you've been exploited. It just means that there might be something that you might want to take a closer look at. In the past 6 months, has anyone asked you to give your social security number over the phone, send money to an unknown party, provide personal or financial information, make a payment to collect prize winnings, sign a document that you do not understand, give ATM, debit, or credit card information, asked you to make a financial decision that made you feel nervous or suspicious, or none of these? Now, again, someone could have asked you to do this. You might have said no, but even if they asked you to do this, it's important to say yes. Say someone sent you an email saying that you've won $1 million, but you need to pay the processing fee of $14.95. So send us a certified check and your bank account information for direct deposit. Say you knew that was a scam, but the fact that you were still asked, you should still hit yes, because if you are asked for, or if you're solicited for one scam, you might be more likely to be solicited for more scams in the future. We also have some scams that are COVID related specifically. So since March 1st, 2020, when the COVID-19 pandemic really took hold in the US, have you experienced any of the following? Someone contacted you and offered to sell you a testing kit. Someone contacted you and offered to sell you a cure or treatment. Just as a note, there are currently no FDA approved cures or treatments for COVID-19. Or someone offered to contact the IRS on your behalf to speed up delivery of your stimulus payment. These questions were all generated because these are very common COVID-19 related scams where someone will call you and say that if you send them $50, they will handle the IRS on your behalf and get you your stimulus money faster. Obviously, that's not true. Or someone will sell you a miracle cure or a miracle treatment that will make you not be able to contract COVID, or that will cure COVID if you already have it. Obviously, that's not true. And if you were to check any of these, then information would pop up at the end of the tool about how you can protect yourself from scams like this and what help is available to you to remedy any financial exploitation that may have been occurring. Okay, part 4, how often do you have contact with family and friends? This is important because seniors that have regular contact with family and friends are less likely to fall victim to scams. They are more likely to go over strange things that they have gotten on email or telephone or voicemail with their loved ones who might already know that those are scams. And they're also less likely to need to reach out for human connection with someone. And that's what scammers prey upon when they target seniors, is the fact that a lot of seniors need connection. They don't have a lot of connection with family and friends on a regular basis, especially during the pandemic. And so the scammers will develop deep personal relationships with seniors for the purposes of exploiting them. So we're going to pick about once a week for this, and then next. Okay, the question portion of the assessment is done now, and we're going to go to the findings. It says that based on your inputs, there are some signs that might indicate a risk of exploitation. Don't worry, help is available if you like. It says it might indicate a risk of exploitation because it's not a guarantee that exploitation is there. It just means that there are some things that might be red flags. Please continue to learn more and to receive your full report with recommended steps. You click to continue. It'll ask you if you're a customer of Lakeshore Savings Bank. They were our original partner in the financial safety tool. And it'll ask you for an offer of help. Would you like a representative from Center for Elder Law and Justice to contact you to go over your report and provide you with free legal services if necessary? The if necessary is important because sometimes you might not need free legal services. It might just be that you need a banking safety plan, or you might need to set up a plan to review financial statements. It might be that you've been contacted by scammers and you hung up on them, but you want to go over some more tools and tricks to avoid scammers in the future. Those are things that our office can assist you with, but they're not things that require legal assistance. They're just services that we can provide. Yes, please have CELJ contact and help me for free. Remember, all our services are free of charge. Or no thanks if you don't want anyone to follow up with you. I'm going to hit yes. And this is what happens if you hit yes. CELJ will be happy to contact you. Please provide your contact information. You would fill in your name, your county, your zip code, your phone number. This is very important for us to contact you by phone, your email, and the best time to contact you, and the name of anyone that assisted you to use this tool. Whether it was a friend, a family member, a social worker, a bank representative, then you can put that in there and then we'll know that someone assisted you. If you do not want to contact them, you hit no thanks, that won't appear. Then let's go to the wrap up with more information. This is your report based on the answers to your questions. Different sections of this report will show up with different information based on the answers to the questions that you gave. So if I were to go back and put in different answers to the questions, this report might look completely different. You can download it in Word or in PDF format. And here's a conclusion based on the inputs you provided. It looks like there might be some risk of financial exploitation, which is very common because it is. There's a recommendation to contact a member of the CELJ team about your situation. Again, even if you clicked no thanks to the offer of help, you can still call us, and the phone number is listed right here. You can let us know that you've completed the Senior Financial Safety Tool and would like to consult with a professional. This is the specific recommendations that are based on the answers that we put in today. A bank statement's not reviewed in 6 months and no one else reviews the bank statements. This means that if someone had fraudulently gained access to the account, you might not have noticed it, and there might be charges on there that you haven't seen because you hadn't reviewed the bank statements. Some items on the bank statement are not recognized. It might be that you made a purchase that you forgot about, or it might be that someone else is using your bank account fraudulently. Not sure if someone else has access to money. That could be a red flag that someone else is going to access your money. Someone has made a suspicious request regarding money. Remember, we hit yes when about the question that someone had asked them to submit money in order to claim a contest or a prize. That's a red flag. Even if you did not give them the money, it's a red flag that you were asked. Does not have a power of attorney and no one is reviewing bank statements. We encourage people to review their bank statements frequently, as that's one of the best ways to combat exploitation before it begins. And finally, contact with friends and family is only weekly. We encourage seniors to have contact with friends and family as often as possible. Call your kids, call your grandkids, call your neighbors or your friends just to check in for a couple minutes during the day. And then that will provide the kind of connection that you need socially to help kind of mute anything that the scammers might be offering to you as far as human connection. Okay, some more detailed notes on your inputs. Your inputs are your answers to the questions that we just put in. Check your financial accounts, protect your financial accounts, and best practices for a power of attorney. Remember, we indicated that we did not have one, so this will give the information about how to get a power of attorney, how to choose your agents in a power of attorney wisely, and how to manage your power of attorney once you have one. If you're isolated or lonely, you may be more willing to welcome callers or visitors that do not have your best interests at heart. This is where we were talking about with social connections, connecting with your friends and family. And there are some things you can do to make sure that your social connections are strong. Finally, there are some suggested resources. The first resource is always going to be the Center for Elder Law and Justice. We are always here to help you out. Erie County Adult Protective Services is also here to investigate suspected abuse, neglect, or financial exploitation. If you're in Chautauqua County, their Adult Protective Services is right here as well. The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, the Federal Trade Commission, and the New York State Attorney General Bureau of Consumer Frauds and Protection are some government institutions that work to protect people against financial exploitation. And then you can expand a transcript of the entire session if you want, which will give you the answers to all of your questions. Okay, you can continue at this point to a brief survey. That survey will just ask you about your experiences with the tool. We use this information to make periodic changes to the tool as necessary. I am not going to continue to that because we still have to do the legal risk detector. So I'm going to go back to our homepage at elderjusticeny.org. And as you'll see when it pulls up, the legal risk detector is right there. Okay, You'll see the splash screen looks similar. Down here, begin interview with client. Again, this tool can be used by a senior themselves, or it can be used by any organization or any person that works with seniors. We call it client as a general term, but I mean, if you are doing this for your grandparent or if you're a senior who's doing this yourself, the questions are going to be exactly the same. So you want to hit begin interview. Which New York organization are you partnering with? The risk detector has actually been replicated all across the country. In New York State, CELJ works with organizations in the western portion of the New York State, and JASA is an organization that works downstate with the risk detector tool. Hit next. All right. The risk detector is asking for the name of the person conducting the interview. This is not necessarily the name of the senior client. This is going to be your name if you're conducting this tool on behalf of someone else. And if you're ever taking this tool for a test run, you want to just leave these blank, because when we see the first name as John Interviewer, then we'll know that's test data. Okay. The standard and the express risk assessments, they generate the same information, but the standard risk assessment asks questions that are slightly more detailed, and it gives you the option of only generating or only asking questions in certain areas. The express risk assessment functions more like a checklist. We're going to go with the express risk assessment. It takes approximately 10 minutes. And now the tool is asking us for the client's contact information. If you're taking this tool on behalf of yourself, if you're a senior and you want to know if you have any legal risks, you would put your own information here. If you're a social worker and you are interviewing a senior to see if they have legal risks, you would put that person's information here. And if you're doing this as a test run, again, you want to leave the default information here, because that's how we know it's test data. So you would write in your name, gender, phone number. If you have issues with phone reception, if you're in a rural area, or if you don't have a phone number, you'd want to indicate that. You'd also want to indicate whether it's okay to leave a voicemail on a phone. We will not leave voicemails unless it's specifically indicated that it's safe to leave a voicemail there. A home address, if your mailing address is different, again, you won't receive any mail communication from us unless you specifically say that it's okay for us to mail you things. So if you don't want to get mail from us, then you don't need to enter in your address or your mailing address. And we ask household income because we want to make sure of what types of financial situations people are in who we're helping. That's demographic data only. It's not shared with anyone, and it's just approximate. So you can put that in there and know that it won't be shared with anyone. If you rent or own your home, this is a very important question, because different questions on the legal risk detector will pop up based on whether or not you rent your home or whether or not you own your home. There are different legal risks associated with each, so you want to make sure that you put the correct answer in here. Okay, the express risk assessment. Ask the client the following questions. Feel free to rephrase in your own word and provide inputs based on the client's statements. And if you're doing this interview with another senior, if you're not taking this tool for yourself, put in your answers based on your observations and interpretations of the client situation. If you're working with a senior, you may know that they're getting eviction threats or notices from their landlord, even if the senior does not want to tell you that. So you want to put in as much information as possible. Again, if you're a senior doing this for yourself, then the questions are going to be phrased in a way that's asked you to ask your client. You would be the client, so you would just answer this based on your own experience. There are 6 sections of questions that we ask, and these are very brief checklists of things that you may have experienced. Regarding housing, which is the first one, are any of these statements true? Are you getting eviction threats? Are you receiving court papers? Are you behind on your rent payments? Are you having problems with your neighbors or your housemates? This can also include other people in your building that don't live in your unit. You don't feel safe at home. You can't fully care for yourself. Or if you have any other housing related problem that's not indicated above. I'm going to hit one of these and see when you do that, it asks you to provide any details that might help us understand the housing problems you selected and any action that you've already taken to respond to the problems. You can enter that here. It also lets you triage the problems based on your statements. Are you not sure if you need help with the housing problem? Do you think you need help, or do you think you urgently need help? This will let us know then how urgent the problem is and allow us to triage it appropriately. Okay, the second section is consumer debt. Regarding credit cards and bills, are any of the following true? If there's a judgment by a court against you, if your bank account has been garnished, if you're getting letters about money you owe, if you feel like you have too much debt or you're trouble paying your bills, or another problem related to debt. Okay. Financial exploitation. This is similar to the senior financial safety tool. However, the safety tool goes into a little more detail because it's focused on financial exploitation only. Other financial concerns, there are negative things in your credit report. You don't see your bank statements. You've been getting calls or mail about money, investments, or prizes, or any other help protecting yourself financially. Regarding healthcare, which is section 4, which ones of these are true? If you do not have health insurance, if you need help with Medicaid or Medicare, you have a billing problem with a health insurance company, your health insurance denied coverage for something that you need, you have been deemed disabled, or any other problem related to healthcare. Okay, abuse and neglect. If you do not feel safe at home, if someone's living in your home and refuses to leave, if someone hurts you or touches you without your consent, if someone is supposed to prepare your food but is not doing it appropriately, if someone is supposed to help you with anything else but they're not fulfilling that obligation, if you feel like you're being abused or neglected, or you have another fear or concern about your safety, or any other concerns, anything else that the senior is concerned about that they think they might need help with from our agency. All right, since we're done with the checklist, we'll click next. And similar to the financial safety tool, it reviews your answers and comes up with some red flags that might indicate that further help is warranted. Housing red flags, you need more heat or hot water. Consumer debt red flags, you're being sued for money. These were things that we clicked on that checklist. Financial exploitation, healthcare, and we did not click anything, if you remember, on abuse or neglect or other concerns, so there are no flags here. If you are satisfied with this information, if you think this reflects what we checked off on the checkboxes, then you would click over here. If not, you can go back and add additional checkboxes. The risk detector allows you to submit conditions of, or photographs of conditions or paperwork that you can photograph or video to provide any additional explanation for any of the questions that you answered. You can also add comments or notes regarding those videos. If you can photograph or take video of the conditions, you can upload those right through the tool. If it's not something that's appropriate or you don't have any pictures or video, then you would just hit no. Okay. The report, which is shown below, which we'll scroll down to, indicates 4 risk flags. That's because we clicked 4 things in the checklist of questions. We have emailed a copy of the report to the interviewer. If you were, say, a social worker or an APS worker or a friend or family member who was conducting this legal risk detector on behalf of a senior, your email address that you gave in the first part of the risk detector app would review right here, or would appear right here. You can download the report with Word or with PDF right here. And if you scroll down, it will give you a overall risk finding, and it will also give you other things that you can do and steps that you can take to mitigate the risk, including recommendations for further action. Okay, based on the inputs provided, they're finding the overall risk level is very high. This is based on the nature and quantity of the risk flags detected. We hit 4 different risk flags in 4 different areas of legal risk, which is why it's going as very high as it is. If we had only hit 1 risk flag or none, it might be in the very low or the low category, but 4 different risk flags across 4 different areas is pretty high risk of needing legal assistance. Again, these are the risk flags that we clicked when we answered questions earlier in the tool. This would be the photos and videos if we had uploaded any. The next steps, this report has been sent to the CELJ central office, where it will be reviewed by senior staff members. They will review the report and they will get back to the person who submitted it within 24 to 48 business hours to see if the senior or the person submitted it wants to take further steps, or if we need to open up a file with our organization to assist the senior, or if we need to refer the senior to another organization that might be better equipped to assist them. And then below is the transcript, similar to the other tool, that shows what you did with the tool and what were your answers to the various questions. And that's it. It took us a little less than 10 minutes. It identified some legal risks, and it sent the information to the Center for Elder Law and Justice, which will follow up for further review. Those are the legal risk tools that we wanted to cover with this session. And if anyone has any questions or any other concerns, they can feel free to share them, and I would answer them at this time. Okay, Shayna's telling me that there are no questions from Facebook, so I am glad that everyone took the time to come out today and learn a little bit more about the legal risk tools that we offer. If you want to take these tools for a test run, or if you want to use them for yourself, or if you want to use them for a friend or a family member or a client who might be at risk for financial exploitation, or who might have other legal risks, you can go right to our homepage again and view our free financial safety tool or our legal risk detector. If you want to get additional training on these tools, we have training videos on our YouTube page that you can get to right here from the YouTube link to see the trainings for these tools to learn more about them. And if you liked what you saw today and you want to support our center financially, it's really easy to make donations. Right now, we're in our end of the year financial campaign, and you can click support the center and make your donation right through our website so that you can help support programs like these to keep seniors safe from financial exploitation and from legal risk. And if there is no other questions or no other concerns or comments, then thank you very much for coming and have a great rest of your day.